He's never gonna be with my kids alone. And if he does that in front of any of us, there will be a F-king issue. Kourtney shouts, as Kris ends up in tears. Alright, y'all, it's the moment we've been waiting for, the full blow-up between Scott Disick and Corey Gamble on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. What previews of this insane dinner didn't show was that Kourtney Kardashian was just as revved up as Scott, and she ended up having the final word in the heated discussion over how to discipline children, specifically, 6-year-old Penelope Disick. Previews also showed Kris Jenner seemingly distancing herself from the whole ordeal, but after the scream fest, she was in tears. "You guys, I don't have a nanny anymore," Kourt revealed to her family. She said P was really upset. She was putting her in the car, and Penelope scratched her face. But P can be out of control. I think she almost blacks out and does these wild things, but like if you're a nanny, you also. If a kid scratched you, can you pop the kid and it's cool? Corey interrupted. Kourtney didn't seem to pay the comment much attention, saying, "No, but you could also say something to her in the moment." "I'm sorry, but if P scratched me for no reason, I'm whipping her ass, and I'll explain to you all later," Corey blurted out. Perplexed by the comment, Scott let out a "what?" Corey tried to repeat himself, "I would whoop her ass." But Scott interrupted, "You would whoop Penelope's ass if she scratched you?" "I would give her a spanking for sure," Gamble promised. "My daughter?" Disick asked, to which Gamble confidently replied, "FK yeah." "What are you talking about?" Scott pressed, growing visibly agitated. "You would whoop my daughter's ass if she touched you?" "No, scratched me," Corey explained, as Kris also pointed out the difference. Once again, Scott asked for clarification. "You would whoop my daughter's ass?" "Why not?" a genuinely confused Gamble replied. "If she scratched you?" Disick said. "A little 6-year-old girl. What the FK are you talking about? Stop it." "That's the problem," Gamble repeated, while Disick continued to shout "Stop it." He was furious. "You're not going to beat my little daughter. Get the FK out of here." Kim Kardashian tried to intervene, explaining she didn't think Corey meant beat her, but Scott and Kourtney felt differently. "You just said you would beat my daughter," he hurled across the table, as Kourtney added, "He does mean that. He does mean that." "I said whip," Corey said repeatedly. "I said whip." As all this was going down, Kris started eating her dessert. "My little daughter?" Scott shouted. "Obviously, you don't have kids. Don't ever talk about a child like that. Ever. Ever. Anyone's child." I understand you're emotional, but I promise you, I would've," Corey began to say, before Scott interjected, "You would hit my daughter?" "Not hit her to hurt her, but," Corey replied, with Scott shouting back, "You just said, I would whoop her ass." "Whipping is a discipline, motherfucker. What you talking about?" Gamble fired back, getting closer to Disick's face. "Corey, you said you would whip my daughter," Scott repeated. By this point, Corey was infuriated, too. "I'll whip your ass," he shouted. "If your kid scratched me in the face, you don't think they deserve to be popped?" That's when Kourtney replied sternly, "Not at all. Not at all. But they need to be disciplined," he insisted, as Scott noted he was getting very angry. Corey kept saying he wasn't trying to do something harmful, but Scott and Kourtney felt hitting a child in any capacity is just that. When Kourtney pointed out to Corey, once again, what he said he would do to P, he insisted that that's how anybody talks about disciplining their kid, whoop their ass. "What the fuck?" Kourtney fired back. Kris had finished her dessert and stepped in to let Kourtney know he's never gonna. But she didn't get to finish her sentence. "He's never 'cause he's never gonna be with my kids alone," Kourt said loudly. "And if he does that in front of any of us, there will be a F-king issue." Soon after, Kourtney, Scott, Kim and Jonathan Cheban all got up to go home, leaving Kris in tears and Corey wondering what he did wrong. "Why did you say anything at all?" she asked, wiping her face. The day after the explosive dinner, Corey tried to call Kourtney 3 times. She didn't answer because she was still fuming. He tried calling Scott. Again, no answer. Both Kourtney and Scott, as well as Kim, Jonathan and Khloe Kardashian, felt that things would have been very different had Corey said, "This is what I would have done if P were my kid," but he didn't. Scott even said he gave Corey plenty of opportunities to rephrase, but he said what he said and he meant what he meant. During the episode, Khloe and Kim agreed Kourtney was way too lenient with her kids, but neither of them condoned physical discipline. Khloe took to Twitter after the episode aired to better explain her stance. "When it comes to discipline in your children, no one should judge," she wrote. "Everyone should do what's best for their family. We all may parent differently, but I would always respect how my sisters choose to discipline."